What's up, guys? Jay Lee here. I thought this was a funny picture, so I thought I'd just make this quick little video with this picture as the background. I'm not going to talk about this picture. You can read it, but anyway, I want to talk about pickup artistry. I want to talk about game a little bit because it is within the sphere of red pill. It is within the sphere of what we talk about between men and women, relationships, things like that. I'm going off of my experience a lot, but I'm also going off of things that I've learned objectively, etc. Right? I studied game and I went in cold approach from probably 2017 to about 2022, something like that. Within that time, I overcame like approach anxiety. I, dealt with, how to pick up girls in a hard liberal city, Seattle area, right? Things like that. I learned some things. By no means am I a kissless virgin. I've had lots of girlfriends in my life and things like that. So when I talk about my red pill stuff and I base things on my channel, it's based on my experiences, but it's also based on objective, things that other guys are experiencing, etc., and objective things that we can identify in our environment, etc., right? So I'm not just some guy talking about theory. Anyways, what I wanted to say is that, based on a lot of what's going on in today's society, women are saying like, oh, guys need to approach us and stuff like that. Well, there's a lot of things that men need to understand. Some basic things, which is that women are never at a shortage for guys approaching them. Women are really never at a shortage for hooking up, for dates, etc. They've had an abundance of that probably forever because they're the gender that receives. Men are the ones who do the hunting, women are the ones who do the choosing. Okay, guys have to put in the activity, women have to just sift through the best guy, right? That's just the nature of the beast. That's how it is. So when a woman says, I wish guys would approach me more, what she's actually saying is she wants to reject more men so that she can build up her ego. Right. So women are always going to be approached. An attractive woman is always going to be approached at some point. Like maybe it's not every single day, but it might be a few times a week, might be a few times a month, depending on how much she goes out, etc. So when women are complaining about that, it's because it's not enough for their ego. It's an ego thing. It's a narcissism thing. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. The second thing is women want looks, money, and status. Okay, looks, money, and status. So if you're not on the top tier of those three, and I mean all three at the same time. Yes, if you're just good looking, it can go far. Yes, if you're just rich, it can go far. Yes, if you're just a famous guy, it can go far. But ultimately, they want the best of all three. And they will settle for guys who are just one out of three. True. But that's what women want in general, okay? So if you're going out and you're approaching women or you're practicing pickup or you're trying to be a pickup artist or whatever and it's not working, the reason why is because you do not fall into those. You're not good at any of those categories, okay? You don't have looks, you don't have money, you don't have status, all right? And we don't need to get into the ins and outs of all those three and how to improve it. Mostly, as far as looks is concerned, you're tall, you're good looking, you dress well, smell good, okay? A lot of that you're born with. You can go to the gym, you can improve. Yes, true. You can really improve your looks, but there's a cap, right? For men, for everyone, there's a cap, right? You can always improve, but there's a cap, okay? So get that out of the way. If it's not working, it's probably because naturally you're just not good looking enough. Money, everybody can improve. Status, everyone can improve, but most people are not going to be able to improve on status. In fact, money would be easier to improve than status, okay? They're all hard. All of them are hard. What women expect out of men is usually beyond our measure. And the standard is always going up because we're in a global game. Okay, we're in a global game, meaning we're competing with men all across the world. The internet has shrunk the world. It's made everything accessible. You can fly a girl out. This is why women are more happy now than they've ever been, because they have access to anything and everything they want through the internet. Okay, which is why giving women social media and the internet was one of the biggest mistakes mankind has ever made. It's been catastrophic, and it's just leading up to the end times. But I just wanted to speak to men who are struggling. I wanted to speak to men, who are like, gosh, I don't know why this isn't working. It's because you are being you're being outsourced. Your skills and your labor or whatever, metaphorically, you're being outsourced. You're being beaten. You're being beaten by men who are better than you. Okay, there's guys who are better looking than you. There's guys who have better charisma. There's guys who there's always going to be someone better than you at everything, right? And so the real problem is the women. The problem is not you, that you need to improve. So anybody like Jordan Peterson or some pickup guy or some motivational guru who's coming to try to tell you that you need to be better, that guy's just trying to make money off you. He's trying to make money off of your insecurities, off of your fears, off of your failures, okay? The real truth is that you only can improve so much. Everyone has a cap and looks, money, and status, right? We're all, Sigmund Freud called it the sex drive. We're all trying to improve so that we can get a woman to have sex with us, so we can settle down, all this crap, right? Well, the red pill comes along and it says, hey, why do you need to do all that, right? The red pill is like, this is the real truth about female nature. You're jumping through these hoops. You're living in the matrix. The real truth is that, you need to step outside and say, all right, I'm not going to play this game anymore. The game is rigged. There's always going to be a BBD, a bigger, better deal for her. There's always going to be better guys. She's probably going to cheat at some point, right? You're always got to play this hypergamy game where they tell you, don't get comfortable, always stay on your purpose, always make sure you keep doing the same things that attracted her in the first place. And it's like, at a certain point, you realize, well, this is a lot of effort for a woman who really doesn't love me that much, for a woman who's really not supporting me that much, and I'm trying to constantly impress her. And you realize this is a game that's rigged against men. Okay, this is a game that's rigged against men, and at some point you realize this is not worth my time and my effort, so you have to figure something else out. And that's been kind of the bottom line of my channel is to expose the things that are wrong, expose the red pill truths, talk about the red pill truths, and kind of encourage men to find something else, find a different hobby, find something else that makes you happy. I'm not saying don't improve. I'm not saying, try casually with women or whatever. I'm not saying don't ever go cold approach. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that don't buy into all these lies. I've done it. Don't buy into all these lies that say, oh, you can improve and you can get to a certain point where you're slaying, or you can get a girl, you can get a good wife. There's that unicorn out there. Don't put your hopes in that anymore. Right? It's not, we don't live in the 1950s anymore. Women are damaged from feminism. Women are out here sleeping around. It looks bad. Like, society's looking bad. We're on a downhill trajectory massively, particularly politically, and all the stuff that's going on with all the wars and all the crap that they're rolling out on us. We might only have a few years left before all this is ending anyways. And I'm just being straight up blunt and real with you. Figure something else out. Stop following these celebrities. Stop idolizing these vapid loser people who are rich and all this. That they're losers. They don't have any moral compass. They don't have any, they're just the carrot in front of your face that the devil tries to distract you with, right? Find a higher purpose. Find God. Read the Bible. Whatever you got to do. Make yourself happy. Figure it out, because don't put all your eggs in that basket that like, I'm going to find somebody. So many men have been hurt by that. It's probably just not going to happen. That's the reality of it. And you could call that a black pill truth maybe. But I guess what I would say is the red pill is just the objective truth, meaning this is the way things are. And then you make your own, consensus after that. You make your own, realization of what is going on. And my realization is that it's just going to get bad, and it's going to get more worse, and women are going to get more slutty, and they always tend to double down, right? And so we're just going to see the destruction and downfall of society. Now, hopefully you can keep hope and pray, and maybe you can find a decent girl that's not halfway bad. Maybe, I'm not saying that's not possible. I've never said that that's impossible. I've never been so black-pilled where I've felt that I've definitely been in desperation, or I wouldn't say it was the word desperation. I've definitely been negative, and I've definitely been, it might seem like I'm in desperation where I say, we're cooked and all this, but it's possible. Okay, it's possible. I won't sit here and say that, you'll never find love or you'll never find a good girl. It's possible. But is it probable? I don't think so. I don't think that it's probable with the way things are going, right? Women are so bad that women who are 4 out of 10s, they think they deserve princes, think they deserve rich, famous, good-looking models. It's that bad out there. So that's just the general truth. So from the pickup artist perspective, it's like, I did it for some years and I didn't have much success. The success that I had was organic back before the internet, when you had friend groups and you meet girls that way. I had a lot of success that way. For a little while, I had some success with the dating sites, but the type of girls that I would get even on the dating sites was low tier, lower than what I felt were my standards. And I entertained those girls because I didn't have anything else going on, but which even red pilled me even more and things like that. Anyway, ultimately at the end of the day, you get what you get. You take what you can get, right? And if you're not getting anything, if you're not having success, just understand that it's probably because it's out of your hands. It's because there's a bigger problem than just you need to improve and pick yourself up from your bootstraps. And I spent a lot of time in kind of consternation and struggling and self-deprecating because I thought I was the problem, and the real truth is that society's the problem, women are the problem, right? The real truth is that men are always going to try to work hard to succeed. That's what I've always been in the gym. I've always been, studying, going to school, trying to improve all the things that I needed to improve. And if it doesn't work, or if you're not top tier or whatever, this is why the red pill has helped me so much, because I realize, okay, it's a game that's set up, and women don't love you for who you really are, right? They don't want to support you and tell you, that like the famous quote by Richard Cooper, they wait around at the finish line and they have sex with the winners, or they wait around at the finish line and they choose the winners, right? That's not loyalty. That's not love, right? And so at a certain point I realized I need to have some self-respect and take my power back and take my my own life back. And I need to just be happy in the moment. I need to enjoy every day, and I need to live my life in such a way that I have some kind of purpose outside of, finding a woman, because that was for so long as a blue pill. I started out as a blue pill guy. For so long, I was putting all my eggs in that basket that, like, oh, once I find love, then I'll be happy, and once I find a good girl, then my life will change so much, and I'm so lonely, pining away after a girl. And at a certain point, you just have to be like, man, fuck all that. Fuck it. I'm going to be happy now, regardless if I've got a girlfriend, regardless if I'm getting laid or not, regardless if I have love or not. I'm going to choose to be happy because that's all I can do. It's like we're in a war, and it's like you just choose the best thing to do in the shitty circumstances. Within a war, you just do your best. You can't be like, oh, I got to sit around and wait for this war to end. It's like, no, you got to just live. You got to live your life within the confines of your limitations, and you have to be happy and figure that out. So that's kind of been my overall message on this channel, and I wanted to talk about it from a pickup perspective, because I know recently a lot of guys are like, women are trying to coax men back into the dating scene, because I know a lot of guys have left. A lot of guys have turned their back on women, and women are like, how come guys aren't approaching us anymore? And again, women are not hurting for boyfriends. They're not hurting for sex partners. They're not hurting they are hurting for attention. That's the problem. They're realizing, oh, wait a minute. It used to be where 30 guys a week would approach me. Now I can barely get 3 guys to approach me. So something's changed. And that's a good thing, guys. That's really good, because the less attention you give them, the less narcissistic, and maybe they'll start to change, and maybe they'll start to be more normal. But probably not. They tend to double down, and they've been so warped, and they're so consecrated to the evil that they can't be fixed. And again, they're not hurting for sex partners. Women are not hurting for boyfriends or sex partners or men who are willing to love them. They're not at all. What they're hurting for is they're hurting for the beta guys, pardon me, or the lower tier guys, the guys who, and hopefully we all do stop simping, right? Hopefully guys stop giving them attention, because you got to do what's best for you. If it's not worth it, walk away. If there's a bad deal on the table, walk away, right? If it's not good for you, walk away. If you're trying to approach girls and you're trying to hit on girls and it's not working, they keep rejecting you, then just stop. Then don't play the game. I wouldn't say I stopped pickup artistry. I just, for me, it's like I don't have time and energy to go do that anymore. It's a matter of, it's a game, and you're just being rejected over and over again. I wanted to gain the skill of having to do that, and being able to walk up to women I didn't know, and say hello, and ask for their number, or just try to chat them up and try to be charismatic, things like that. I wanted to learn that skill, and I believe I did for the most part. I can do that. It's uncomfortable. It's not fun because I don't like getting rejected. Nobody does, but I can at least do that. Where before I started the pickup artistry, before I started my journey in PUA, I wasn't able to do that. I was too scared. I was too nervous. I can do that. I can approach random women, and there's something there. They respect guys who do that, even though they'll still reject you. They respect it. So for me, it was like just gaining that skill, right? And I can do that. And I wouldn't say don't ever do that. I'll probably, in as much as I have energy and time, I would go out and do that, because I think, you might as well, whatever, like you might as well just shoot at something and see if anything hits, right? It could work, right? But don't be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna be a pickup artist, I'm gonna get all these girls and it's gonna work and I'm gonna get a girlfriend, because again, it's looks, money, status game. So you're really ultimately kind of just reinforcing her ego, because you're just gonna get rejected, and you're gonna get probably rejected so much that you fall into despair. And so I've been there, and I just want guys to know that that's okay, that you feel that way, because in reality, the truth is that it's over your head. It's out of your hands. Most of it is predisposition or selected, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's already, most of it is chosen before you anyways, because there's guys who are just better looking than you, and that's just a fact, right? And there's guys who have more money than you, and there's guys who are famous and you're not, and if you're just an average regular guy and you're going out and you're trying to do pickup, you're probably going to get rejected 99 times out of 100. And but it's a good skill. So I wouldn't discourage men from doing that. I would just say, from a red pill perspective, understand that if you're getting rejected over and over again, there's a reason for it, and it's because of female nature, it's because of hypergamy, it's because of looks, money, status, it's because it's out of your hands. Okay, and I would also say, if you keep doing that, you're probably gonna get depression. You're probably gonna get some kind of despair. You're gonna get angry or something, or you're going to be mad, and you don't want to do that. But also, you're building up her ego. Like, you're giving these women, when you do that and they reject you, you're essentially giving them power, and you're building up her narcissism. So just understand that. Again, I wouldn't ever say don't do that. I wouldn't ever say don't ever go out and approach women, because it's just stupid. It's not worth it. I wouldn't ever discourage men to that extent. But what I would say is that understand what it really is. Understand what you're really doing. Understand that the reason why it's not working is because of that, right? Which is why the red pill is so helpful. My ultimate thing is, do what makes you happy, and if it's not working, stop doing it, or adjust somehow, right? If making money and getting rich is not for you, people have tried business, tried this, tried that. Live your life, man. Don't waste your happy days on striving to make some money that will never work. Maybe someday it will work, maybe it won't. You don't know, right? And if it's not working, maybe adjust, or maybe stop doing it completely. Right. So after a certain amount of time, and that's one of the biggest things that happened to me in my life, was I wasted too much time doing something that was never going to work in the first place, because it was never destined to work. I didn't have the talent, or I didn't have the looks, or I didn't have the charisma, or whatever. And so you just got to do something that you can do, and that is good for you and healthy for you, and then do that. Not everybody is meant to be Mike the Situation from Jersey Shore, pulling girls every night. Not everybody's meant to do that. Not everybody's meant to be Warren Buffett, where you're going and making $1 bazillion because you did the best trade deal. Not everybody is meant to be Johnny Depp, right, where they're just super famous and everybody loves them. Not everybody's meant to be that. Just live your life. If you enjoy collecting something as a hobby, or you enjoy, just do that. If you have one good friend, it's better than a million people who don't really love you, but they follow you because you're famous. Like, you can do that. You can go make one good friend. You can go out and you can have a hobby, or you can go outside and you can enjoy the sun for free. You can go walk at a park for free, and you'll find out that that's actually pretty fulfilling. I enjoy walking at this park. I enjoy doing this hobby. I enjoy having just that one friend. It's not what you wanted. I get it, but it's better than just being unhappy in something that that was never meant to be for you in the first place. Okay, so I hope that I made that clear. That's all I wanted to say. I wish everyone well, and I would just say buckle down, and we're looking at a decline. We're looking at a decline in civilization. Buckle down, make some moves with God, find your purpose, get right with God. Because things might be cracking off here pretty soon. It is what it is. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I notice things and I talk about it. That's all. Anyway, appreciate you listening to my channel. It's been Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.